Hey, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with oh, Joe Boo must still be up in the bag there. Wow, forgot to unpack him for my trip. But as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. We are sitting here 152 days, 9 hours, 1 minute, and 35 seconds away from kickoff of the 2019 season. The time is just zipping by, and man, before you know it, we're going to be taking the field. On the 15th of the month, literally a little over a week away, the team is going to start working out. It's just like boom, boom, boom. We're 3 weeks away from the draft. It's coming, guys. It is a coming. And the Cowboys have been busy. You know, we've cussed them out early part of free agency because we said the Cowboys, they're not interested in winning. They're too worried about spending that $250 million on Jerry Jones's yacht. They're not signing anybody. We saw the ugliness of DeMarcus Lawrence and all how that was going, where he wanted a $120 million contract and everything else. And the Cowboys thought they had a $20 million deal. Well, I said yesterday that I thought that this was a good deal. And a lot of people are saying he's overpaid. It's ridiculous. He's not worth $105 million and yada, yada, yada. He's only had, 2 good years. Last year, he didn't get double digit sacks. And stop, 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 stop. Understand, after having the season he had with 14 and a half sacks the year before, teams realize that we have to go ahead and double team him. We have to keep in a tight end against him. We got to keep a running back against him. He became the lightning rod. But what you noticed is how the rest of the defense got better because of the attention that he garnered. I said that about Calais Campbell, and people didn't seem to understand it. But when you have a guy who garners that much attention, like a Lawrence Taylor, it makes everybody else on that defensive front that much better. And the fact that they got Robert Quinn to go on the other side with him, it's going to be bookends. It is going to be, like I say, the trash compactor from Star Wars closing in on the quarterbacks. But understand, even though he got all of that attention last year, he still was tied with Calais Campbell for tackles for losses in the NFL with 22. He was second with quarterback pressures in the NFL, knowing that teams said we have to stop that guy. And the fact that they get this deal done now so we can get that shoulder worked on and can be ready for training camp is even better. Now, understand when you look at contracts, don't look at the total contract of $105 million. He'll never see $105 million. It won't happen. The money you have to look at is the guaranteed money. And basically, what this deal really is a 3 year, $65 million deal. Basically, paying him $21.5 million a year. But here's what this deal does for him. The Cowboys have been masters of dealing with the cap and being creative with it. The Cowboys, we started out the offseason with $47 million. We've gone out and we've signed Randall Cobb, we've signed Robert Griffin, excuse me, Robert Quinn. Sorry, brain fart, dementia setting in. I am getting old, so I do make mistakes. But the fact we've been able to go through and bring in pieces for our teams, the George Ilokas, the Christian Covingtons, and things like that. All these players that we've been able to add to this roster. Now, you've got that $20.5 million franchise tag. That was what the hit was going to be for the season. The hit now has been reduced by $9.5 million. $9.5 million by getting that deal done is now saved on the cap. That's $9.5 million that can go towards signing Dak or Zeke or Byron Jones. And if they do the same thing with Amari Cooper, because understand, we have 100 and some, or we had 100 and some plus cap space left for next year. You kind of kick some of that for next year. But unlike past years where we've kicked so much money down the road, where we've gone through and restructured contracts, that by the time the guy gets old, we're still owing a whole lot of money. The Cowboys can walk away from this deal in 3 years with no pain. So in essence, it's the $65 million that will be paid those first 3 years. If he's still playing well, you can hold on to him. But when he turns 29, if it hasn't worked out, bye-bye. So the Cowboys are learning a lot. They have learned, I think, how to play the game. We'll see if it bears fruit. But you cannot argue with the amount of talent that the Dallas Cowboys has put on the field. You cannot argue with the fact that they have been better at drafting than just about anybody and getting homegrown talent. Now, this is the first time in a long time that they've kind of gone for primo free agents, which you have to me, in my mind, it's a delicate balance because you need some extra help. You need to use free agency as a tool to kind of give you a little extra, kind of like nitrous oxide in that gas tank. You flip the switch and you get that boost. Well, that's what a Robert Quinn and a Randall Cobb will do for our Dallas Cowboys. They'll give us that little extra. And now, because we've been able to kind of take care of it, you could look at our defensive line and say, you know what, we're okay. We've got a good rotations of tackles, and things like that. We've got, pass rushers on the outside. Would it be nice to add somebody? Of course it would. But it's not necessarily a necessity. We played last year with Xavier Woods and Jeff Heath. You added George Iloka, who will be in part of the mix. Is that the ideal situation? Maybe not. But you can look and say, we're capable with a pass rush in front of us. Linebackers, you've got Sean Lee coming in as a backup. You could say, okay, we're all right there. Offensive line, Connor Williams put on 10 pounds of beef, has another year behind him. You say, okay, he's going to be okay. You look at Joe Looney, who now is a swing guard and center. Got experience. Okay, we got a capable backup there. You re-sign Cam Fleming and Xavier Salfalo, and you got rid of Mr. Ketchup. So hopefully we're not going to go through where we messed up the offensive line the first half of the season and switched back and reverted. We can start from day one keeping these guys at being road graders. So you can look and say the offensive line, okay, we're okay. Would it be nice to get another opponent? Of course it would. Tight end. You got Jason Witten, which is basically, renting for a year. There's definitely still going to be a need for another tight end. Running back. You can get a scat back later in the draft. So you look at that situation and say that you could use somebody. But now we go to the draft and we see how the draft goes. Sometimes quarterbacks fall. Sometimes wide receivers fall. Sometimes there's a run on offensive tackles and defensive linemen fall. So you can pick whatever player fits your system and is the best one out there that maybe can make an impact. Instead of saying, well, I got to draft a safety, and you're reaching for a guy who may not be that good. In essence, that's what happened to us with Taco. And I'm not saying that Taco Charlton, that the light switch may not come on for him, especially since when you realize that pass rushers generally don't come out of the box right away and make an impact. There are a few that do, but generally speaking, it takes a couple of years to develop. And maybe that will happen with Taco. Maybe he'll see the writing on the wall and realize that I've got to kick it in gear so that way I can get that next payday. So I'm not ready to give up on him. So you don't want to be in the position where you have to reach for a guy because you have a need for that spot, and it may not be somebody that's really going to help your team. The Cowboys at 58 can find playmakers, somebody who will be an improvement over somebody who is starting right now. And I love that. I love that here it is, the first wave of free agency, that we've taken care of all our needs. I love the fact the way they've gone through this is our future is still bright because 3 years of DeMarcus Lawrence, that's all you're committed to. Is he worth $21 million a year? I think so. That's basically the fourth most of the pass rushers out there. What he has done and accomplished the last 2 years, yeah, he's worth that. But you're not tied up for 6 or 7 years where you just can't continue to go. And the same thing with the Robert Quinn, the same thing with a Randall Cobb, that you're getting these deals where it's putting an incentive on the player to continue to play well, to stay hungry to get another contract and another deal, as opposed to giving a guy a major deal like Aaron Rodgers, where Aaron Rodgers has all the leverage because there's nothing that Green Bay can do about moving him. There's nothing they can do about motivating him. It's all on the player. So look at how the Cowboys have evolved from where they used to be. They have learned their lesson of the mid-2000s and have not made those plays, those contracts that are more player-friendly than the team-friendly. And it's going to work, I think, well for them because it keeps your options open down the road. So that being said, hopefully everything recorded well here. I've got to check all my settings and everything else. Of course, I haven't really been in here much for the last 2 weeks. But Monday night, we'll be doing the drawing over here for the Dak Prescott autographed Stand Up for Cancer shirt. I believe it's 54 people who donated to it, so shout out to each and every one of you guys. I'll do a video and read through the names one last time to make sure that I didn't miss anybody. And if I did, go ahead and send me an email at cowboysmark94@gmail, so that way I can make sure you're in on that drawing. Congratulations to everybody because he reached the goal of over $10,000. So hats off to you guys. And wow, I am out of practice. I forgot to turn on the football gods. Football gods aren't even plugged in. Where are they? What's that? They're not lighting up. Do I have the wrong remote? That's what it is. Boom. There we go. Got to have the football gods smile down upon us. So as always, friends, thank you all for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. I will see you guys soon.